Hello, this is Steve from Beaute's Leatherworks. Today's project is these boots. These are Bates boots. Okay. Now, this is about dead at the toe, as you guys can see. So what we're going to do, we're going to do full sole and heel. We're going to put new leather welt all the way around. We're going to replace the toe cap here, okay? Replace this piece right here. Also replace the stiffener, which is called a toe counter. Give it some structural support, clean, dye it, and make it look new, almost like new again. Now the trick is going to be, we need a last that is that shape to form the toe. Now this is an older last. This is from 1963. It's a vintage one, I guess I would say. As you guys can see, the shape of the toe is not the shape of the boot, okay? So in many cases, not that I'm a shoemaker, but most shoemakers will always go through adjustment of last to make it fit to their customer's foot. So that's what we did with this guy here. So this is the same last. Okay, this was a 10D. Now I made that into 9 triple E. Okay, basically you add on some leather, sand, measure, add on leather until you get the shape that you want for what you're working on. Now, most of the time when shoes are made, these lasts are very refined. Okay, but we don't have to do that in this case. For example, this is a last of my foot shape. As you guys can see, I had to add on some pieces of leather there to make it the width that I wanted. It's a project I'm working on. This is basically a one-piece leather that's molded to the last. Now this is a very difficult job to do when you don't have any wrinkles around the back of the leather when you're doing this. Since the leather is flat one piece, to give it this shape, it takes a little bit of while. And plus, this is a very heavy leather. Most of the shoes are made are not this heavy, where you can stretch and mold as much as you want to get rid of the wrinkles. Some of you guys may say, well, how are you going to get your foot in it? It's not done yet, okay? Basically, once this is shaped, you know, you open that up and you cut them, well, depending on what style you're doing, right? This is going to be basically like a lace-up, maybe about 4 holes. You cut that open right there, and you continue the job. Okay. All right, so that's the biggest challenge, I think, that would be time-consuming, is to alter the last to make it that shape. The rest of it is not that difficult to do. But again, it doesn't have to be refined as those. All I need is basic shape from toe to heel, the width, and smooth out this area right here so I can make a toe cap out of it. You know, that way it's nice and smooth, follows the contours of the toe shape. Okay. All right. Yes, I'm wearing my watch. Some of you haters were hating on me for butchering a watch up. I told you guys I'm not a watchmaker or a watch strap maker. Okay, so I used my, you know, unorthodox way of taking things apart. What's the big deal? It's a watch. It looks good. That's all you got to worry about. All right. All right, and that's it. So I think these boots are going to look cool. This guy's got history with these boots, okay? Again, with everything I do, every item has a history. Every item has sentimental value to it, okay? And this particular one, I believe it was a little over $650. So I think once it gets done structurally, the boot will be amazing. I think you should get another 20 years out of it. If he's taking care of the uppers, it should last for a long time. Oh, we're going to do blue soles on this one, okay? It's not going to be leather. Blue rubber soles. It's going to have a nice contrast with the black uppers. All right, let's get started.
Man, that was the hard part. Yeah, getting the last together. I mean, this is the easy part, tearing things down. I'm not going to waste too much of your time to show you guys tearing things down because it's pretty much boring. The hard part is over. Just reshaping the last and getting it to fit somewhat to what we want. You know, again, it doesn't have to be like precise 100%. Okay, it can be a little rough around the edges. It will still do the trick. It's not too bad. It's not a refined last, let's just say. Alrighty. So we're removing the welt completely because we're going to replace the welt altogether. And the toe piece too. Now the 100K giveaway is over. Okay? I haven't picked the winners. Obviously, I'm going to do that live on October 18th. 6 p.m. Eastern time. East Coast time. Okay? We'll do live. I'm going to be home. I'll get my family to help me pick some numbers. Now it's going to be very basic, you know. I printed out all the emails, okay? And basically, I'm going to, I numbered them actually. I put a number in a corner of the paper, 1 through 400, whatever it was, close to 400. And I wrote the number on a piece of paper, little piece of paper, folded it. I know it's very, very, very old school, right? I really thought about this. Really, I did. Anyway, so we're just going to put those numbers in a basket, and we're going to pick the winners, and we're going to announce them on air, live. It's very basic, you know. It's nothing, you know. I want to show you guys that because I don't want to hear somebody going, "Hey man, you cheated. You know which winners it was, and you picked those numbers." I don't want to hear that crap. Come on, man. Come on, man. Although you should see some of the emails that are coming in. Pretty funky stuff, man, you know? So I can't wait. I'm very excited. Voila! And she's done. Well, she's done removing everything. Let's continue. So when a boot or shoe is being made, most of the production shoes and boots, when it's at this stage, the uppers, okay, are nailed to the gemming. This is the gemming right here, this piece right there, okay? It's nailed together, stapled together, I should say. And those staples are a pain in the butt to remove because basically they come in this way, okay? And then when they go in, they bend outwards, and they bend again like that. It's a pain in the butt to remove. So instead of taking them out, I cut them, and then I remove it from there. It's just a pain. But you got to take it out, and sometimes somebody working on the line gets a little crazy with these staples, and staples, so many of them. I think they did that just to piss me off, just to annoy me. Yeah, that's it. I know they did. My goodness, man. As you guys can see, that footbed is coming apart from the uppers. Now, so when this is all apart, it's all flat piece, well, somewhat curved. Jeez, man, look at this thing. All right, it's gonna do one more. There you go, one more. Yay! Phew, I'm breaking a sweat. Wow. So this is the reason why we have a shoe last, because you see there's no shape to it. That lining's got a big hole from the toe. See that? And this was what's left over of the toe counter. Now, granted, these boots are 20 years old, okay? So it lasted them a long time, so it's not too bad. But we're going to replace that piece. We can't leave that lining, you know, with a hole in the middle like that. No, sir, Bob. We're going to replace that. All right. So, yeah, there we go. The back heel is not bad shape. We'll take that piece out too. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. Man, it is hot. All right, that's elastic, okay? That's basically the toe stiffener that I put on. Now, some shoemakers make this out of leather, and then they spend a long time turning that in, hammering, nailing, hammering, nailing, which you can do. This is just a little bit faster way of doing things. Now, as you see, it activates with heat, and when it gets hot, it gets soft. You can kind of pull and tug and pull and give it some shape is what you want. I'll let that dry for a little bit to retain that shape after it cools down. Then we can have our toe stiffener. All right, let's continue. I have to turn the camera off with my knuckle because it doesn't, I can't turn it off. Anyway, let's continue. All right, so we've got 3 stitches on the vamp area on each side. Okay, right there. And then right by the tongue area there, that rectangle stitch. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and come back and do the rectangle. So here goes nothing. Number 2, swing that around. And number 3. And we got the 3rd stitch, and then we're going to do the rectangle now. One stitch vertical. And then one more, we're going to come around, double stitch that area because that area is going to get a lot of stress. Well, it usually gets a lot of stress, but since these have a zipper side, okay, that's how you get in and out of them. If you had to lace them up, yeah, this area would have gotten a lot of stress, but unfortunately it won't. Well, fortunately it won't. Now, one mistake I made, I just realized that I needed to stitch this first, okay, but I have now a little bit of clearance here before I stitch this side. I can get to the center of the tongue area. All right, let's continue. So at this stage here, we've got the uppers all stitched together. We've got the new lining, new toe cap. I shaped it a little bit to kind of make it easier to work on when I'm getting ready to stitch the welt on. Now, we got the toe pief. We got the toe pief, okay? Toe pief. Where'd that come from? Okay, toe puff, or toe counter, toe stiffener, whatever you want to call it. Next is our footbed. This is our footbed. This is the old one. This is the new one. Old, new. Bad, good. Now you see you've got this gemming is what the uppers come on and stitch together. So we're going to have to replace that. We got it glued and we are waiting for this piece to dry. This is the new gemming. I'll show you guys when I glue it on. All right, let's continue. All right, so basically you just glues down to the edge of the sole and then you lift this up right there. Okay, that becomes the gemming to bring the uppers on and stitch the welt on. Now we're just going to glue it all the way around. Let's continue. Now, we've got our lining glued to the gemming. Okay, and you see these marks here? Right there, right here, right there. This is the center of the boot in the back. These are where the side pieces meet. And this is where the toe cap is met right on that mark. Those are just guidelines. So I took those marks before I took the gemming off the boot. That way, when I get done, I can, you know, I transfer the marks from the old footbed to the new, okay? And then basically, let's see if I can show you guys what I'm doing. Just cutting the lining off. Can't move this back. All right, let me move this over here real quick. Okay. So basically, where was I? Oh, so I transferred the marks from the old footbed to the new footbed, so everything lines up when I go to stitch it back together. All right, now we're going to put the stiffener, the toe cap, I can't even think anymore. Okay, it's called the toe counter sleeve. All right, we're going to put the toe counter in, and then we're going to go ahead and stretch this over a bit and then stitch the welt on. Let's continue. So what we're doing now, we are stitching the welt on to the shoe. We take this little needle, you guys see that? If that helps or not. It's called a jerk needle. And you got the existing holes where the welt used to be. Okay, these little holes there. We line up that hole, the existing hole there. And then we make a new one on the welt because it's a new welt. Drive it right through the old hole, through the new gemming that we put on. You hook that thread, pull it through, got a loop. Then you put the other thread through the loop, and then you pull the thread nice and tight. Got this little leather piece here so I can pull the string. And what I do is I wrap it around the handle there, and I pull it real snug. It's nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. So I've been having, I've been reading some questions about people want to know where I learned this trade. I grew up with it. My dad was a shoemaker, so in Lebanon growing up, basically his shop was on the ground level of our apartment building, and obviously, you know, coming home from school, always got to go in and see Pops. And, you know, I would hang around and watch. I mean, I only remember, you know, not too many years I did that, obviously. I was 11 years old when I came to the States. But, you know, Lebanon was in a civil war. It started in '75, and I was 9 years old. So, you know, before that, don't remember much of my childhood. Unfortunately, my childhood consists of war, basically. You know, there was a viewer that said, well, why don't you talk about the past? You know, I'm like, you know, a 9-10-year-old seeing war, what's there to talk about? You know what I mean? But I mean, that's what I remember most of my childhood, basically, which wasn't much of a childhood until I came here. It was a very bloody civil war, literally in the streets. It wasn't like, in the desert or, you know, in the jungle or anything like that. It was literally in the streets. Remember one time a bomb went off. Literally, I would say maybe about 50 feet from our entrance to the apartment building. It was a rocket, it was a mortar, whatever you call it. It landed literally right next to one of my classmates' feet. She was my age, and her father was right near her. She was, I guess she was taking some food to her work, as from what I remember it, you know. Anyway, her father was basically, maybe I would say about 4 feet, 5 feet from her. Maybe a little more. And his whole body was shrapnel. I mean, it was all, you know. He didn't die. She, you know, unfortunately, her legs literally just, from her knees down, they were just decapitated. They rushed her to the hospital, and unfortunately, they couldn't save her legs. So I remember growing up visiting her, and she was in pretty bad shape. They had basically took her legs off at her knees. Young girl, 10 years old, 9 years old. So I don't know if she's still alive or not. Years later, I heard that they sent her to London for some prosthesis. I don't know. I don't know whatever happened to her. I really don't know. And after we came here, we just kind of lost track of people back home, you know, except for family, of course. One of my vivid memories, we, you know, there was no work. Work had stopped, obviously, you know, and no school. Mom used to cook for Red Cross. We used to go to a, I'm sweating. We used to go to a headquarters, I guess you guys can call it, right? Where they would cook for all the soldiers. That's where my mom used to go every day. I used to go with her. Where else am I going to do? I was hanging out with my mom all the time. And that headquarters basically was like, you know, stockpiling ammunitions, and they had their meetings and all sorts of stuff. I remember going in a brown Mercedes, 4-door Mercedes, filling the back trunk with ammunition, going to the front line behind sandbags where I was basically filling AK-47 magazines and handing them to the guys who were not more than teenagers, you know, 18, 19-year-olds were fighting right over my head. That went on for a little while until they needed more ammo. Well, I went back with the car, you know, and meanwhile, nobody's saying, 9, 10-year-old, what the hell are you doing, man? You know, no, it wasn't like that, you know, it was kind of normal. And as we filled the trunk back up to take it to the front lines, one of my mom's girlfriend, never forget her, she was a sweetheart, she grabbed me by my hair, yanked me out of the car. Meanwhile, I'm fighting her, telling her let go of me. I grabbed the door. I remember this like it was yesterday. This finger, as a matter of fact, my pinky, I grabbed the door. As she was pulling me, I was holding onto the door. They slammed the door right on my fingers. Needless to say, she didn't let me go. Hey, that's... You guys want to know my childhood. That's my childhood. You know, that's... And there's a lot of stories that... A lot of things that I've seen that would probably make a grown man throw up. You know? Hammer time! Yeah, stuff like that, you know. I don't talk about it. I really don't. It's not... What do you do? It's not something you talk about, you know. I know I'm talking about it now because questions have come up a couple of times, and I figured I'd share little, you know, little stories with you guys. And that's how it was for 2 years of my childhood, from 9 to 11. So yeah, I've got 3 brothers, and they were all in the war. My third oldest brother was 16. Second oldest was 18, and third oldest was 19. So they were all in a civil war. You know. Luckily, nobody died. A lot of friends died, but you know, not my brothers. But I'm you know, I'm happy we're here. This is like a king's life. Even though we have hardships in life, you know, some people just don't realize how good they have it. They just don't. And all this complaining, you know, how this country is this country is that. Most people have no clue what they have, because they don't know the other end of it, right? They don't know how bad it could be. You know, they don't know if there's no food in the refrigerator to eat. There's no electricity for you turn a light on. There's no water in the freaking faucet. Yeah, right now we have a nice refrigerator with a button with an endless amount of water that comes out of it, nice and cold. Oh, and crushed ice too. You know, just little things like that. It's, you learn to appreciate those things because you know that, you know the other end, you know the other, it could be a lot worse than what you have. So count your blessings. Some people don't even have that, what you call just normal day-to-day life things. It's a luxury to most people, but unfortunately we don't. I'm not going to say we, because I know the difference, because I've seen the other side of it. Okay, I talked too much already. All right, so I'm going to continue this stitching. So it's coming along good. So it's working out okay. So as you guys can see, we're getting there. All right, let's continue. Some people have asked me how I finished the beginning and the end of the welt. Well, I just literally just skived the leathers like that. Put a little glue and overlapped it a little bit. Like that, you see? So I let the glue set for a little bit. Once it's stitched, you'll never notice where it began and where it starts, where it began, where it finishes. Let's continue. All right, hammer time. Now, he had a fiberglass shank, and that's what he wanted back. He said, no metal shank, please. So I said, as you wish. Your wish is my command. Whatever you want. Now, sometimes I use cork. Sometimes I use leather. I think leather gives a little bit of a more structural support. This is like an 8-9 ounce leather. Belting leather. Okay. It's pretty sturdy. Just have to cut this into shape so it sinks in to the cavity of that. But I'll put cork in the forepart right there. So, okay. Beautiful, man, beautiful. Man, oh man, these are gonna look nice. We're gonna put rubber midsole, sole, stitch, heel, base, heel, shine, dye, clean, polish. Finito. Let's continue. Hammer hammer hand. I took my watch off. That's the sole. Check it out. Isn't that blue? Very blue. This is Andes. A-N-D-E-S. Soles. They are made in Spain. The Danites, the British soles, they do have a navy blue, but Allen Edmonds has a lock on those where you can't get them. So this is the alternative to Danite. Looking good. Oh, there's the other one. Damn it. I want to show you guys. Just be patient. I'll show it to you. All right. She's getting there, as you guys can see. Oh, lordy, lordy, lord. I'll wash my hands. Get that polish off me. I had somebody comment, hey man, with all that money you make, do you think you could have a manicure and fix your fingers with all the filth in the nails? Are you serious? What the hell's wrong with some people? All the detail I show you guys on what I do, you're looking at my fingernails? Really? My goodness. I've never been to manicures before. I've been to pedicures before. My wife drugged me to one. Actually, I enjoyed it. It was very nice. She massaged my feet and everything. I have a thing about people touching my feet. I don't know why. I don't really like it that much.
Maybe that's why I don't like people touching my hands. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll enjoy it if I go. But you know, I'm making all this money. You think that I could go to manicures? My God, man. Hey, you want to get your shiny fingernails, clear coated, gel, whatever the hell you do with it, more power to you. Leave my fingernails alone. These are working man hands. Working man's hands. Shaky working man's hands. All right. Anyway, let's get back to work. There's your heel. There's your heel base, leather heel base. We're going to basically balance everything and glue this on, and we're going to nail it from the inside. Okay, and it is going to look like. Ba-dow! Now, if you look on the inside, you see those nails? Basically, I nail most of my heels that I do from the inside. Secures that heel block to the footbed, leather footbed that we replaced. Now we're going to tape this blue off and then dye this leather light shade black. We'll have black and blue after we get done. Now I put a coat of dye on this one here. Okay, Fiebing's black dye. Okay, buffed it real good. Put a little bit of spray on top of it, spray dye. And then we're going to put some conditioners all over and buff it some more. Okay, let's continue. I want to show you guys a little close-up how my Landis L outsole stitcher works. Okay, you've got two threads. We call this the bottom thread, which actually it's on the welt, which is on the top. This is the bobbin thread, which is on the bottom of the shoe. We call it the top because it's on top. Now you've got an awl. Awl is a sharp knife that is right there. You guys see that piercing through? Yeah, this right here. Right, that piece right there. Pierces through the leather. Leather sole is sitting like this, let's say. Okay. And then it makes room for the needle to follow it. You see how the needle's following that awl? Well, there's a hole there so the needle goes through. And now this piece right here loops the thread around the needle. And then the needle picks up that thread. You see how it's coming? Well, it works better when it's on the sole, but let me hook this on here. You'll get a better idea. Like that, okay? Now, as the needle picks up the thread, this piece right here, the looper, I think is what it's called, it picks up the thread right there. And then the bobbin comes in, picks up that thread and swings it around the bobbin to catch this thread. And there it is. You see? Made a complete loop. All right, let's see if we can watch this in real time. Can't really go slow with these machines. Cool? Whoop. That was me hitting the camera, my big feet. And that's how the stitcher works. Isn't that cool? Let's continue. Now we get to stitch the shoe. Wow, a little dirty. Well, of course, I'm videotaping. That's why it messes up. Of course, it usually never messes up. Well, sometimes it messes up. But, you know, when you're videotaping, sometimes, like you forget how to talk. Something bound to go wrong. Let's try this again. Alright, I'll clean that up, no worries. You won't tell that it happened.
Right, just like that. We'll clean that up a little bit, no big deal. Beautiful, flawless stitch on the brand new welt. Man, oh man. You guys remember the beginning and the end? Once it's nice and polished, you'll never know where it started from. Let's continue. All right, welcome back. Looky here. Turned out good. Put the baits, just the stamp same baits on there with my logo, Beaute's Leatherworks. Now, from what this was to what it is now, it's day and night difference, right? I think that overall it turned out good. Now the most time consuming part was obviously making the last. Okay, this right here, the rest of the work is pretty simple, but making the last, trying to stretch this over with no wrinkles around the toe, it's time consuming. It's not really hard. It's time consuming. I put the broguing on there just like the customer asked for. Blue soles. You wanted the corners rounded off here a little bit. Did that. I put I stitched everywhere that was needed. It was a couple of areas of the zipper was coming loose. I changed the lining inside. We didn't even talk about that, you know, but once I took it apart, obviously it needed to be replaced. And I replaced it. New laces, leather stack heel, new welt all the way around. Obviously, this is called a split welt. You wanted to dye that black. We dyed it black. It was a natural color. Clean and dyed the uppers, conditioned it. Really, that's about it. He didn't want metal shank, which sometimes I put metal shank in, but he says if it didn't have metal, don't put it in there. So I kept the same fiberglass shank in there. Now, as far as the width here, it's exactly what it was, okay? And he's got a new footbed, leather footbed. He had paper footbed, basically. It was cardboard. Okay, now, always when I tell customers after we do a job like this, it's gonna feel different. It's normal because you're completely disassembling the shoe or the boot, whatever it is. And then when you're putting it back together, they're like new. It's not uncomfortable. You just have to go through the breaking period, that's all. And he realized that. I think he's gonna be very happy with it. These were, if I'm not mistaken, I think his mother got these for him, if I'm not mistaken. They're about 20 years old. He has very much sentimental ties to it, and he wanted to bring them back. Okay, that's why we did it. Most of the jobs that I do have sentimental value, have a history behind it. That's why we kind of continue, you know, the life of the item to make it last as long as we can. Hopefully this will last for another 20 years. All right, well, thank you for joining me again. I really appreciate it. These are kind of cool, right? It's a little zipper. It covers the zipper slider. It's kind of neat. Now, some people are asking me about where I'm located, okay? If you go on the main page of the YouTube channel, on the top bar, it'll say About. If you click onto that, all my information is there. My email address, my phone number, my address, anything that you want to know, it's there. Okay, so if you have any questions, please email me, bedos@yahoo.com, and I'll do my best to get to it in a timely manner.
On October 18th, we are having the drawing, 6 p.m. East Coast time. I'm going to go live. I'll be at home. My family helping me out, picking a couple of winners, and I'll let you guys know right on the air who are the winners. And then I'll contact them via email, discuss what kind of items they have, and then we'll see what we can come up with. And I'll let you guys know who won, and we can record the repairs also at the same time. Now, somebody asked me a couple of emails I got about making holsters. You know, I don't make holsters. Okay, I really don't. I've got a friend of mine in Louisiana. His name is Doug Giles. He has a YouTube channel, Creative Restorations. I'll put a link at the end. Whoever wants a holster made, he does that type of work. And you're welcome to get in touch with them and see if they can help you out. All right. Well, thank you again for joining me. I appreciate you guys sharing. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys on the next project. Take care.
Hello. It's Aaron, loyal customer of Steve over at Beaute. I'm doing a quick reaction because I just got my boots back. These are a pair of boots that my mother bought me a little over 20 years ago. And I searched for years to find somebody to fix them. Nobody, I mean, really all the cobblers I went to said, oh, it's too much work. I'm not going to get into that. You know, you need to last, this and that. Found Beaute on Instagram and YouTube. I sent him the boots and he said, let's give it a crack. So let's open them up and see how they look. These are a vintage pair of Bates paratrooper boots, or a lot of people just call them jump boots. These are American made. They no longer make them in America, which is one of the reasons why I had Beaute fix these. So let's see. Hopefully I don't cut or kill myself here. All right. Look at these old beat up toe caps. I know how to beat up a pair of shoes, I'll tell you. All right, cool. We got a receipt. Awesome. Little note from Beaute, my old insoles. Oh boy, look at this. They even got shoe bags. Jeez, they even look fresh. Oh shit, man. Ha! That's pretty awesome. Oh boy, do those look freaking cool. Look at that welt. Oh man, I don't know how well you can see this, but I'll stand up. We did blue Ondes soles. Now I got big fat feet, so these are wide boots. Not a dress boot, but man, look at this. Oh, let's grab the other one real quick. Oh, hell yeah, Beaute. You have definitely outdone yourself. Oh, yes. That's just bitchin', man. Look at those. Let me get this box out of the way. Alright, well, this is definitely 2 thumbs up for me. Thank you so much, Steve. And I want to say this. Let's continue. Signing off.